come down here, he smells me, he already knows me. You know, so like when he's like, oh, it's Bill, cool. Hey everybody, Bill here. Welcome to our pack walk where we give our owners real life scenarios to work through. Today we are at a public park. We are expecting 8 dogs here, all that are working through reactivity. It's not just our dogs. We've got other dogs here. We've got people that are claiming their dogs are therapy dogs, but their dogs are reacting in live time, which is just great practice. We have, example, more reactive dogs here. But this is the exact work we're talking about where you've got to work through it. And this is where we get to have that hands-on practice in real life scenarios. Such a valuable thing that we're able to offer to our clients. It's good to see you guys. You're being a good boy, Rocket.
Mostly.
Yeah, mostly. If he is struggling or you're seeing that he's starting to react, create a little bit of space. We are going to work everybody closer, but it's really important that we do that very slowly. Hello, Mr. Duke. How are you, Dookie boy? It's going to be something that is going to be challenging because this is a lot of people's first pack walk too.
Oh, okay.
So everybody's kind of learning today.
Yeah.
Big thing is don't try to go too fast.
Okay.
If you see that he is reacting or he's really, really excited, don't try to close that gap too fast.
Yeah.
We want to make sure we're doing that at Duke's pace. She's crushing it. Like I love that you guys are already building in engagement because now when we start actually putting things in motion, she is going to be paying attention to you. That's the half the battle. If he checks in with you, to mark and reward. You know, so that he understands that like even if Krista's giving another dog attention, Duke, that has nothing to do with Duke. You know, Duke can also get paid from mom still. But then also too, there's going to be that point where he doesn't always have to be getting attention. Other dogs can get attention and that's okay.
Yeah, he's really jealous of that.
Duke in particular, that's like heavily tied with like his resource guarding because like he thinks everything is a resource,
Exactly.
you know? So that's where it's like, I'm also going to tell him if I see another dog getting attention from somebody else, Duke, you're gonna have to live with that sometimes. What you're really always looking for is a lack of tension on the leash. So you don't want your dog putting even the slightest bit of tension when they are in a loose leash, whether they're head, whether they're on the side. And I'm looking around here and I see all loose leashes, which is fantastic. Like these are moments too where your dog learns about pressure. You know, everybody's dog right now is doing exactly what they should be doing, which means their leash should be nice and loose. I usually prefer to have my dog kind of be able to go either way as long as the leash is loose. I don't want pressure guiding either way, but I want that leash to be loose all the time. If you have a heel command meaning like walk with me, you know, or next to me or whatever your words are, doesn't really matter. If you have a cue for your dog to be right next to you, then that is the expectation. You hold them to that command. And then if you use that word break or free or whatever your word is, which signals, hey, you're free to be a dog, that's when you use it and let them do as they want. Within reason. If you're ever with your dog and your dog is like having a moment where they're really struggling with kind of blowing up at a dog, the question is like kind of what do we do there? And the best example of that is always going to be space. So like if we're the other dog right here next to you and he's just blowing up, you try correcting it doesn't work, you try giving him a treat, it doesn't work, you try to turn around and he's just turning around and he's blowing up at the thing, you know, that means we're way too close. Your dog's over threshold. So like that kind of situation usually happens with a buildup. So like he's usually tensing up as you are approaching that thing. Would you agree with that? Like you can see he's kind of getting a little excited, you know? So like that's your moment to give feedback where if you stop, he pays attention to you, you can mark and reward, engage with him, right? And pay him for paying attention to you. You could also start to create distance at that point. But if you keep going as your dog is building, where he's getting really, really excited, that's gonna be the point where he is gonna blow up when he gets closer to that trigger. So like that's like where you're talking your green zone, where this is a bunch of dogs in green zone, where they're in information taking mode, you know, that you could tell your dog to do something right here. They're all in a really good headspace, they can handle it. Yellow would be like where we're like, I don't know. You know, you can see your dog starting to get a little bit too excited. That is going to be where you're going to be able to try to intervene. You go into that red zone where your dog is just chaotically blowing up on somebody or something. That's when it's going to be, you're just trying to create space and get out of there. Walking nicely next to us is the bare minimum. Right? If we start rewarding that all the time, that's how you also lose value in treats and in food. When there are other dogs around, your dog's like, I've gotten so many treats just for walking. I can forego them when there's dogs around, and then I'm gonna get them later as soon as the dogs pass. So I would only keep it to anything that's a little bit challenging for him. So like for that, I would just use your leash and I'd guide him back over. Don't make it a big thing where you're like paying a lot of attention to him. Don't talk to him a bunch. I would just kind of move him out of the way and just keep your walk going. You know, be very consistent with that and he'll stop doing it. Did anybody have a dog like that? If you take them to a new setting, a new park or anything like that, and they're generally okay, but neighborhood walks are extra tough, that's very, very common. And the whole thing is because of behavior, it happens where it's rehearsed. right? So where does your dog usually practice being reactive? In the place you take your dog on walks the most, which is your neighborhood. So like something even with my own personal dog, Booker, like it was so much easier to get over his reactivity everywhere new because those were our first experiences in those new environments. Once we built up the skill set, paying him for making good decisions, telling him when he's not making a good decision, going into new environments was easy. But like he had been practicing being reactive in our neighborhood for years, you know? So undoing that, or for a long period of time, you know? So undoing that took a lot longer. So like that would mean like where if I could be 5 feet in the store from another dog and he's totally calm, cool, and collected, and I'm 50 feet away from somebody in our neighborhood and he's blowing up, that's exactly why. He's rehearsed the behavior so much. So you might see your dog be on edge or really antsy on your neighborhood walks. You know, so something that can really be helpful there is to go in these kind of scenarios like here, even though it's not great out, you know, where this is not the most enjoyable time to go for a walk for your dog, but it's going to be one of those scenarios where you're not going to really run into much. So it's really good time to practice really good habits with low distractions. So you focus on building engagement with yourself, and then rewarding your dog there, and then slowly closing that gap as your dog is calmer. Something with reactivity is that if you rush it when your dog is excited and your dog is building up and loading up, it's only gonna get worse as you try to push it and you try and hammer it through. You can't hammer it through with corrections. You can't hammer it through with just rewards. Your dog is over threshold. It's just not gonna work. So you gotta take your time with your dog and close that gap over time. Good boy, yes. I'm showing him, hey, when you come and you pay attention to me, I'm gonna pay you for it. I know this is challenging, you know? So like for him, we gotta motivate him to do well. Yes, bingo. Yeah, you choose me, I'll pay you. So you start off with engagement like this. If he is paying attention, now this is a dog you could tell to do stuff. But if he gets to the point where he's at the end of the leash there, yes, good boy. You can start working your way a little bit closer. You just don't want tension on that leash. He didn't know who I was, right? So like for him too, he's like, oh, yeah. And like, we don't want to panic there. So like for him, nice and calm, this thing is going to be your key on what he's going to do next. So like I come down in a very like neutral way where I'm giving him just like my face is forward, no direct tension on the on him and in spatial pressure or anything like that. No eye contact. Come down here, he smells me, he already knows me. You know, so like when he's like, oh, it's Bill, cool. You know, and then you see the body language change, now we're different. We'll get George to go in and I'll cycle some dogs in behind you guys. Okay. Especially since you're in the front too. He doesn't have to be in a heel if you want to practice putting him in a heel and then give him a break, heel break. It's a good idea, but just a general loose leash walk is good. George is nice and calm, which is awesome. We'll give him about 10 feet, 10, 15 feet, and then we'll kind of follow in behind him. And Sarah, if you want to bring in Otis after this guy, be right in the middle for us. Do you guys want to just follow us right here? See like here. The correction. Yeah, the correction for the pulling, right? Yeah. So he'll realize that like, hey, as long as you don't feel pressure on that leash, you're not gonna get in trouble. Yeah. So I'll give him a little bit of space here. Like if he wants to go and he wants to sniff to let him decompress, which is really, really good for him, you know, letting him do all his Duke things. Right. But then at the same time, you really don't want him to get pressure on that leash. So like right here, even when he's just kind of just hanging out, like you wanna make sure that there's no tension. Yeah. If he checks in with me here, I'll reward him. Or if you could even try to use some obedience here too. Duke, come, good boy. Yes. So you're trying to get that engagement back onto you. And then now, once he understands though too, for you guys, once he understands there's opportunities to be rewarded with you, you'll see he's much more involved with you too. This is nice, like, you could do a couple of different drills here too to kind of really tighten this up. So if I go like this, good, she followed it. So you're doing more like U-turns where like she's got to be able to pick up that you're turning around, you know, which she has no idea. It's like now like you're like demanding more attention. If we let her get away with everything, she is going to get away with everything. Yeah. See, like every time she's trying to cross into my lane, I'm giving her the same exact feedback. Okay. So that she's eventually going to stop doing that. Yeah. Because the response that she's getting is not what she wants. Break. So now if I tell her, hey, you can be on a break, that means, hey, anything goes. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
So like you want to keep her to that high standard. If you want her to be able to be here, you can cue this behavior up with a word too and work on that with like a heel or a with me or whatever you want it to be. But what you want it to be for her is that she understands when I have you in a close leash like this is the expectation. That you walk on a nice loose leash just like this.
Yeah.
If you get ahead of me, you're gonna get that same feedback.
Okay.
That make sense?
Yeah.
So for him, he's learning, okay, hey, when I see a dog, right, instead of my opportunity to just blow up, which is gonna get me corrected, you know, I can go and I can check in with my handler and get reward. So like you have to demand more attention. He can't just be focusing on whatever he wants to do everywhere. You gotta be able to say, hey, you gotta pay attention here right now, you know? So like, that's why he gets so overstimulated with that little bit of pressure, you know? Right now, he's more relaxed because he's on a nice loose leash, you know, like where he knows that there's a good chance to be rewarded instead of just corrected, because we don't want to just do one or the other, you know? We want him to know when he is making a good decision, he's gonna get rewarded here. We're gonna just work on just getting everybody to be neutral with their dogs. So what we wanna do here is we'll kind of fill up this field, and you'll get as close as you can while your dog is calm. You guys did it. This is awesome. I think everybody did a really nice job. Like I said in the beginning too, this was, I think, almost everybody's first pack walk. And Mr. Otis has been here. That's, everybody else is new. So like that can be a really challenging environment, you know? Every dog here pretty much came in with reactivity issues. We don't have any aggressive dogs here, we just have dogs that are reactive. So like dogs that like to be around other dogs, that could be a really challenging thing, but you guys were awesome. Like everybody went at their own pace, and like now at the end of this, we have 8 calm dogs within 5 feet of each other. That's exactly what neutrality looks like. From reactive to neutral. Thanks for joining us on our pack walk. I think that was a really great experience for everybody. We got some real life training. We got everybody's dog who, as you could see, was really, really excited when they started, but everybody's dog within, 10 feet of each other at the end, that is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for neutrality, we're looking for owner engagement, and that's how you combat reactivity. So let me know what you think. Whose dog do you think did better, or which dog do you think did best? And we'll definitely be doing this again. This was super fun. We'll see you in the next one.